Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Brian Lenihan, Executive Director of SelectUSA.
Love that video. Good morning. On behalf of the United States Department of Commerce, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the final day of the 2019 SelectUSA Investment Summit, but not the final opportunity for you to further your business investment potential here in the United States. Look first to America and work with SelectUSA, your investment specialists in market, and our greatest partners, the 56 states and territories that are present here and where you're going on in this week. I've heard very positive remarks about this year's investment summit, and we are here and very excited to record another year of progress in facilitating free, fair, and reciprocal trade between the United States and its partners, especially as a result of the connections you all have created and strengthened over these past few days. At the Department of Commerce, our mission is to create conditions for economic growth and opportunity. And we have another stellar lineup for you this morning to hear from. So let me begin this morning by introducing the leadership of the International Trade Administration. Our team is led by Undersecretary of Commerce for International Trade, Gilbert Kaplan. Throughout his impressive career, Undersecretary Kaplan has brought a laser focus to promoting competitiveness of U.S. firms and to ensuring that international trading relations are carried out on a level playing field. Throughout his career, he has used his legal talents to promote free and fair trade, both in the public and private sector. In the 1980s, he served at the Department of Commerce as a key negotiator in the U.S.-Japan Agreement on trade in semiconductors. And additionally, Mr. Kaplan supervised the President's Steel Program and the United States-Canada Lumber Agreements. He is the founder of the Conference on the Renaissance of American Manufacturing, and he's also the co-founder of the Manufacturing Policy Initiative at Indiana University, the first and only university program in the country focusing on public policy to revitalize U.S. manufacturing. In the private sector, Gil represented U.S. companies and workers in a wide range of cases. He also advised clients on trade policy matters as well as trade negotiations, such as those involving the WTO and the international anti-subsidy agreements. So please, ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce you, the Undersecretary for International Trade, the Honorable Gil Kaplan.
Thank you, Brian, for the warm welcome and the introduction. Let me join Brian in saying good morning to all of you and thank you for being part of our 2019 SelectUSA Summit. I am very encouraged to see the numerous participants in the various workshops and discussions this year's summit is offering. We have a full agenda for the rest of today as well, including remarks from our honored guest, Secretary of the Treasury, Stephen Mnuchin. I also encourage you to attend our biotechnology discussions later today and a special conversation on workforce development with Ivanka Trump, Barbara Humpton, the CEO of Siemens USA, and Secretary of Commerce, Wilbur Ross. Thanks to you and all those who attended over these last 3 days, I anticipate we have generated countless business deals. As Undersecretary of Commerce for International Trade, I am charged with the responsibility of fostering international trade opportunities, and I believe that the SelectUSA program, highlighted through our annual SelectUSA Investment Summit, is one of the primary examples of the important work we do at the Department of Commerce and at the International Trade Administration every day. Past Investment Summit participants have announced $103.6 billion in U.S. investment projects within 5 years of attending the summit, supporting 167,890 U.S. jobs. We obviously count them, in great detail. Investment in the United States is key to our economic success. SelectUSA has been a resounding success in this effort, assisting thousands of clients, including economic development organizations, EDOs, domestic firms, and international companies. And the program has facilitated over $47.8 billion in client-verified investment, creating or retaining tens of thousands of U.S. jobs. Investment in the United States is also key to our manufacturing sector's success. I have spent the better part of my career working to rebuild manufacturing in the United States, and I am very excited to be part of the Trump administration's effort to do this, which have included lowering business taxes, building up the workforce, vigorous enforcement of international trade laws, and regulatory reform. Due to SelectUSA's success and an urgent need to foster and protect American manufacturing, we have added a new focus within our SelectUSA program to help American companies invest in American factories, American jobs, and American communities. Whether it is by bringing factories and jobs back from abroad, which were moved there when our economy was weak and we were not fighting for manufacturing, or if it is by U.S. companies expanding their operations here. We call this effort SelectUSA. As you know, SelectUSA facilitates job creating, foreign investment in the United States, and supports the growth of U.S. companies in manufacturing and other sectors, creating opportunities for hardworking Americans. As for SelectUSA, the overall goal is to provide traditional SelectUSA services to U.S. companies to help them expand their investments in or return operations to the United States. SelectUSA is a concerted push to mobilize Department of Commerce and federal government resources to support U.S. companies on their path to growth domestically. SelectUSA provides U.S. companies a first point of contact at the federal level to help them overcome obstacles, connect with economic development officials in states, cities, and counties, and find their best opportunities to grow. SelectUSA services include counseling, research reports with objective data that, as always, maintain our geographic neutrality as between different states. It provides assistance navigating federal programs, some of which can be very helpful, such as opportunity zones, and it provides assistance navigating the federal regulatory system. It provides introductions to EDOs throughout the United States, many of whom are here today, and it provides ombudsman services. For any domestic company that is looking at expansion opportunities, we want you to look first at the United States. Our team has experts who can help U.S. companies in all the aforementioned ways, helping businesses grow where they have the best chance to succeed. And I am confident that location will often be right here in the United States. This week, we released a case study that examines 6 U.S. companies' stories regarding reinvestment choices in the United States. I hope this report can help inform all of us about how to refine the value proposition of the United States to attract investment, factories, and jobs. How to reselect USA. We at the Department of Commerce are fully committed to a trade vision that translates into new opportunities for the private sector, increased investment from abroad, and a higher standard of living for all Americans. Now, I am very pleased to introduce the Secretary of Commerce and my boss, Wilbur Ross. The Secretary firmly believes that the Department of Commerce is charged with enhancing investment opportunities for foreign investors and for American companies throughout this nation. We all know that the Secretary is one of the core members of the President's economic team. In this context, he is working tirelessly and vociferously to promote American prosperity and the necessity for free, fair, and reciprocal trade. The Secretary is an expert in global economic commerce. He understands the struggles our industries face against foreign countries that are not playing by the rules of trade. For that, we are grateful. And he also understands the importance of an open and fair investment policy that creates jobs, contributes to new technology, and enhances economic growth. Secretary Ross has had an exceptional government career in the 2.5 years he has been at the department, as well as an exceptional private sector career that preceded that, including as the chairman of W.L. Ross and Company. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the United States Secretary of Commerce, Wilbur Ross.
Good morning. We're fortunate to be hearing from another member of the President's Cabinet, our Secretary of the Treasury. Secretary Mnuchin was the Trump administration principal figure in the passage of the monumental tax reform bill. He is tasked with maintaining the financial health of the United States and, by extension, the global economy. Like myself, Secretary Mnuchin is now well into his 3rd year on the job, with a record of success that is hard to duplicate from at any other period in the history of this nation. Under his financial stewardship, the U.S. economy has been transformed from a lackluster funk to growing faster than any other G7 country. This growth is creating an unprecedented number of new jobs and is regenerating many of America's most important industrial sectors. Secretary Mnuchin plays a central role in the greatest global issues of our time. He's a principal negotiator in a new trade relationship with China. He spearheaded the passage of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, the biggest boost to corporate investment in over a generation. And today, he is implementing tax reform in a way that generates a new wave of investment by companies like yours in the U.S. economy. Secretary Mnuchin is instrumental in assuring not only the economic security of the United States, but its national security as well. Many economic and financial issues now have national security implications, and this new reality requires a delicate balancing act and a great deal of his time. As chair of the Committee on Foreign Investments in the U.S., CFIUS, and as a member of the President's National Security Council, Secretary Mnuchin is safeguarding our national security while maintaining our commitment to an open investment environment. I believe he will go down in history as one of the 3 most impactful Secretaries of Treasury, ranking alongside Alexander Hamilton and Paul Mellon. Before coming to government, our Treasury Secretary had a successful career in the private sector, working with all types of companies, especially in finance, and as he was the founder, chairman, and CEO of Dune Capital Management. He created One West Bank Group and ultimately sold it to CIT Group. And he also was a very successful movie producer, an unusual combination to say the least. It is one of my great privileges to work alongside Stephen in fostering investment and economic opportunities here at home and abroad. It's my pleasure to introduce to you the person whose name is on the U.S. currency, Treasury Secretary Stephen
Thank you, Secretary Ross, for that kind introduction. It's always great to be with you. I know how hard you are working to open markets and ensure greater opportunities for America's farmers. Your efforts are making a tremendous impact. Secretary Ross, congratulations on putting together another successful SelectUSA summit and for making sure the world knows that America is open for business. It is an honor to be here with you again today. I'd like to begin by updating you on some recent developments. This past weekend, I was pleased to represent the United States at a meeting of the G20 finance ministers and central bank governors in Japan. My counterparts and I discussed the state of the global economy and policies we should be considering to foster greater economic growth. We advanced several priorities at the meeting. We discussed ways to continue fighting illicit financing of terrorism and weapons proliferation. We reaffirmed commitments to exchange rate stability and the avoidance of competitive devaluation. We continued our efforts to improve debt transparency and sustainability, to decrease the likelihood of crisis in poor nations, and we also secured commitments from our G20 partners to cooperate on efforts to modernize the international tax system. I look forward to making additional progress on these issues and more when I accompany President Trump to the G20 leaders meeting in Osaka, Japan, later this month. My discussion with other finance ministers has been productive and has reinforced the fact that the United States remains in a position of strength in leadership, having achieved growth rates that many of our trading partners aspire to. There has never been a better time to invest in America. President Trump's economic programs of tax cuts, regulatory relief, and improved trade deals is leading to stronger growth, more jobs, and higher wages. This American model of restoring competitiveness to our economy has led the United States to a period of historic opportunity and optimism for the future. The U.S. experienced 3% GDP growth from Q4 2017 to Q4 2018 for the first time in 13 years. We now have historically low unemployment rate at 3.6%, the lowest since 1969. Average annual hourly earnings growth continues to exceed 3%. Prior to our administration, the U.S. had seen a period of low economic growth, flat wages, and the lowest labor participation rate in decades. This is a similar story today for many economies around the world, from Europe to China. The difference is President Trump's pro-growth policies. The first element of the President's economic agenda is tax cuts. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act gave hardworking families more spending power. It cut the federal income tax liability for a typical family earning $75,000 in half, saving them more than $2,000 per year because of lower rates, doubled standard deduction, enhanced tax credits, and other benefits. Thanks to concurrent wage growth, the typically family received an additional $2,500, meaning that at the end of 2018, they could be earning as much as $4,000 more in after-tax income. The law lowered our corporate tax rate from 35% to 21% and permits pass-throughs to deduct 20% of their qualified business income. It further allows the immediate expensing of capital expenditures for 5 years. These measures have helped the United States, a destination once again for manufacturing. The trend is undeniable. Since President Trump's election, we have gained well over 400,000 manufacturing jobs. We've already seen hundreds of billions of dollars invested in the establishment and expansion of U.S. business operations generally. But the manufacturing piece of our expansion really helps to tell the story to investors that you can invest, grow, and succeed here. I also want to highlight Opportunity Zones tax incentive, an important component of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Opportunity zones will ensure that the economic renewal we are experiencing reaches distressed communities. The incentive provides capital gains tax relief for investments in areas that need revitalization. We are seeing greater enthusiasm for this policy from entrepreneurs and communities seeking to partner with one another to make positive social impacts. We are confident that it will help restore the promise of prosperity for more Americans, and I encourage you to look at incentives you consider where to locate your investment, both facilities and workers. To date, we have designated almost 9,000 opportunity zones to promote jobs in low-income communities. The second element of President Trump's program is regulatory relief. We have focused on improving the financial regulatory environment, and the Treasury Department issued a series of reports outlining our findings and recommendations for making financial regulatory conditions more predictable, fair, and efficient. These measures complement our trade efforts, which we aim to break down barriers to markets around the world. We have been working with China to achieve concrete changes to our trading relationship and structural reforms and practices such as forced technology transfers and intellectual property to open their economy. President Trump remains committed to addressing unfair trade practices in China. I must also highlight the U.S.-Mexico-Canada agreement. This deal will modernize our trading relationships in North America and create some of the highest standards ever to protect intellectual property rights and support small and medium-sized businesses and encourage manufacturing. I am hopeful that Congress will move quickly to pass legislation implementing this important trade deal. Additionally, we are focused on ensuring that our business environment is conducive to the United States maintaining a leadership role in the industries of the future. Nearly $8 trillion, or 38% of U.S. GDP, is linked to knowledge and technology-intensive industries. We will continue to support intellectual property protection and entrepreneurship, and we will focus on workforce development to meet the needs of our evolving economy. This means we are making scientific research a priority, as well as advanced manufacturing, artificial intelligence, and quantum computing. The U.S. is facilitating the development of infrastructure and freeing up spectrum for 5G use. We anticipate that the American wireless industry will invest $275 billion in 5G networks, creating 3 million new jobs and adding $500 billion to our economy. We are working with the private sector and educational institutions to make sure that workers receive the training they need to fill the needs of company leading ways in tech. As a result of President Trump's economic reforms, the World Economic Forum's most recent competitive report named the United States the most competitive economy in the world for the first time in 10 years. We are proud to be a country where business can grow and thrive, and we are proud to welcome foreign investment. I encourage you to join us in our economic renewal. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here with you today.